Live.
We're live.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Yay.
How are you, Sam?
I'm going to start our meeting, our special commission meeting, and then our executive session. So we're going to kind of forego some of the roll call and.
Okay.
Well, we ought to have the roll call.
I think we should.
We need
So
to
just
document that we do have a
sorry,
quorum.
Yeah, just so that we understand it. So if
okay.
you would,
Commissioner Ignashik,
I'm present.
Commissioner Heinemeyer,
here,
Mayor Nolan,
here, so yeah,
quorum.
we have a quorum. All right. And we'll,
Sorry,
yeah, that's okay. No. This is a very,
Unusual event.
yeah.
Unusual meeting.
Yeah, kind of an unusual meeting, so it's all right.
And I see you have the lease there, that's good, so
Yeah.
we did find it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Item number one, in discuss and consider insurance liability agreement with KVD, with Kingsbury Volunteer Fire Department. Does anybody, I don't know, I don't have anything regarding insurance.
There's nothing in the lease about that.
You
No,
know?
I think they said they were gonna come, but just from the texting that was going back and forth between all the fire department members, their insurance has skyrocketed because they lost that truck, that fire truck.
Oh,
And so
when
the
it
insurance
flips.
company said, one more incident like that and you're canceled. So they're all freaked out
Who's
about
their
it.
insurer?
I don't even know how you can legally cancel insurance on a fire station, but that's what,
No, I just want to know who their insurer is.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, I guess I'll find out.
But, so that's the issue with the insurance, I believe, and I think
I
they're
did
just
see
nervous
something
about
about
a
insurance
bunch of people
here.
being here, and
I never had
especially
Is this
since,
about my copy or?
Yeah.
a
since the
copy?
development thing
And then
is
these are
attracting so
mixed
many people, and we didn't agree to do
Okay. So
two days a month.
Item B.
Right.
E.
Well, I mean,
Um,
David kind of told me that he thought that there had been some agreement about this, like, before he was the chief or something, and then he had a conversation with the previous chief where,
I think
It was
Where-
word of mouth,
Do you have
maybe
a copy of it?
agreement,
No, sir.
yeah.
but not a written thing. And then we did get a written thing.
But it sounded like what he needed was some kind of release of liability document from us releasing the fire department of
This looks like
liability
Makes
at our
sense.
meetings.
Yeah.
It looks like.
And then Sam, I think, was telling me the other day that, I think it was Sam, said that we should get something added to our insurance so that if something happened here on our time, that they could get money from our insurance.
Right.
I do like that.
Yeah,
my
and then it wouldn't go through their insurance at all, so if an incident happened through us, it wouldn't even be.
Right.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because it seemed like that was the big thing for them. It's like, their insurance company has been threatening them and, yeah. So as long as we don't make them liable for anything.
So, these,
Does GML just cover municipalities or they cover volunteer fire department?
I'm not sure. I don't know. And so, I wrote up here the page numbers because I had to put the paper back down
Oh,
to copy
yeah.
the second side, and I didn't do it exactly like I probably should. So it does look like there's, something regarding insurance there. And on
Indemnify, defend, and hold landlord and lien holder and their respective agents harmless from injury. Okay, well, that sounds
So this is
pretty-
under tenant's obligation.
Did you guys get this, Sam? You have one?
Yes, I do, and then as.
I mean, that sounds
I
like,
think I just printed
And the
4.
mayor says, was about to say that we also, the tenant's obligations have the indemnification provision, but also then on the, continuing on in C1, D is the landlord's indemnity, so that if anything happens to either one of our respective properties, and ours is the office and personal property, if any event happens, then a claim would be filed against by the person who suffers damage or the entity, and it would turn it over to and so if it's something that's caused by one of our events, then it would be our insurance that the claim would be filed on, and the volunteer fire department should be named as an additional insured on our policy for that reason. That's what this provision says. I don't know that we've ever asked Chase to note that there is an additional insured because of our lease, so we probably should do that. But otherwise, and it's mutual.
Chase
if
being
something-
Chase
yes.
for Chase Patton with the TML IRP.
TML.
Yeah.
And so I think this would cover whatever I understand the concern of the volunteer fire department is.
Okay.
They're fully protected.
At least as far as the city of Kingsbury.
Yes, yes. If a third party does some damage and it has nothing to do with any of our operations, then the fire department has to look elsewhere to the third party that caused it, and their insurance, they would file a claim on their insurance saying that an extraneous third party caused damage. So they're fully protected either way, but especially in regard to this issue, I think they're fully protected by, and this is an indemnification. We have said we will indemnify you, so that's even better than a release of liability.
Cool.
Yes. It's
Well, that's
signed-
great.
It's signed by me
Okay.
and Myron Brother.
So I guess then the only thing that should need to happen at this point is contacting TML and adding
Yes.
the fire department.
And what would happen after that, if TML would then accepts that, they will issue a certificate of insurance and send it to the volunteer fire department saying, this is a certificate that we provide insurance against any damage caused by or to the city's property interest and the volunteer fire department's property if it's caused by the city.
So if there was some claim that needed to be made because of some kind of injury or accident or damage from the city of Kingsbury during some event that's the city of Kingsbury, and so it was really on our insurance.
Yeah.
Would that in any way affect the fire department's insurance? I mean, they're,
Well, only, it would
would
not.
it impact their?
It wouldn't.
Okay.
They wouldn't even have to, well, they probably as a matter of due course, they would notify their carrier that a claim occurred, but they're making the claim against the city of Kingsbury's insurance policy. And now if, for instance, there was a fire, either in our office back there in the file room or,
Okay, that's a good one.
but
The printer
if
suddenly.
there was a dispute, we would just turn it over and we would say, okay, the claim made against to TML and TML, and that's on behalf of both the fire department because they lease to us, it's their property, but our leasehold would be protected. The only time it would impact their insurance, the volunteer fire department, is if there was a dispute between us.
Okay.
Because if there's a claim filed, TML is going to put an adjuster on it, and then he's going to take statements from everybody about how it happened and when, and then he's going to do estimates. But if there was a dispute and somebody said, well, wait a minute, the fire occurred right there at the door of our premises, of our office, but we think something had to do in good faith that we thought nobody was around except fire department personnel or third parties working on the building. And if we had a dispute and said, we didn't cause this, it wasn't our operation that caused it, then TML's adjuster would get in touch with the volunteer fire department's insurance
Insurance.
company and say,
Yeah.
you need to put an adjuster on this, and then the adjusters would work it out and investigate, and if there was a dispute. But that's only if we all, in good faith, have a dispute about what occurred or what caused that occurrence. And so it could ultimately get back to, and that's why both entities should have insurance to cover it. And but we would be considered primary in that case. Our insurance would be the primary that would have to, and if it even got down to a lawsuit by us against a third party that caused it, then we would have to, well, the adjusters would have to work it all out, and their reports would be involved in that lawsuit to determine the cause. But that's not a very likely occurrence. It's most likely going to be a clear cut. If there's damage done, either somebody smashes into the building or there's a fire, or it would also be a slip and fall. If there was a slip and fall and it occurred on our office.
Say it happened in here.
Yeah, if
During
it
one of our
happened right here,
meetings.
and if it happened during one of our commission meetings.
Right.
Then that's going to be clearly, that's our responsibility.
Okay.
The occurrence was caused by, or it occurred by and caused by an event of the city, so the city's insurance would kick in and do it. And but I guess what I was going to say is, if there was a lawsuit or even any kind of a claim for that matter, both insurance companies are going to get involved, and volunteer fire department is going to know about it, and their insurance company. But they will not be the primary. Their adjuster will be saying to our adjuster, this is your problem. You guys have to deal with it, you have to investigate it, you have to pay it. And we would agree, our insurance company would agree. But if there was any dispute about causation, then the adjusters would have to work it out. And the way they usually do that is they just go get a conference room somewhere, and the two adjusters sit down, they take all the evidence, and they then take all the evidence, and they walk into that conference and they say, let's figure out how to do this. And they might ultimately say, well, because both things were going on, two events were going on at the same time, we're going to agree that since it was primarily the city that was in operation at that time using this place, then we're going to, our company is going to pay 60% of it, and the volunteer fire department pays 40%, because that's the way they settle and attribute the causation. So that's how that works
Okay.
on mutual indemnifications.
I thought you were going to say.
No, I'm waiting. I have questions, but go ahead.
So, any event by the KDC would therefore also be covered?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Well, I think that helps a lot.
Do we need to do anything with this lease, like update it or anything, or is it just kind of held in?
I think we need to do a couple of things. Firstly, because what information I have garnered from this situation, nothing definite was said. It was always, I think, or possibly, or could be. It sounds like it's always been skirting around the edges. Nobody's actually come out and said, this is what's wrong, or this is what we think is wrong, or this is what we need. So evidently, well, this should go on our website somewhere, archived or somehow. But a copy presented to the fire department
They need,
board,
yeah.
and this is the contract, and we've been aware of discussion about us meeting here and situations that are arising, and a matter of insurance. maybe that is their issue, maybe it's something totally different.
No,
I think Bonnie couldn't even find the lease, so, you know, they do need one on their
Okay.
files.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if that's,
Yeah.
make sure that, if that's,
Yeah,
make sure that that is the problem they have, or the issue they have, and make sure that we've addressed it in person.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then bring it to us again, and we'll, you know.
Okay,
we'll
yeah,
go-
and I can certainly provide a
Yeah.
copy to Bonnie, with the fire department, the secretary treasurer of the fire department. And I think that will help clarify some of this.
Yeah.
Because it
This-
says 120 months, I mean, that's
10 years.
a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll come up next year, yeah.
Yeah, and this was in 2019.
So
The
2029 is when,
That's 8
that's,
years.
so we
Yeah, so
have,
this
we have a
is,
lot of time.
We have
this
2
is-
years
yeah.
left.
This is,
2019?
Yeah, March,
19?
March 18th,
20,
2019.
24, 25,
26, 27, 28.
6, 7, 8, 29. We have 4 more years.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a good,
we-
good amount of time.
About our schedule.
Yeah,
I'm
hopefully
sorry,
we'll
but
be
on
in a
the
new
date-
place by then.
The date of the agreement is March 18, 2019, but if you look at the term of this agreement, this office lease,
120 months.
we made it
Termination date.
retroactive to
Yes.
when we first came in, which was
Oh.
October of 2018, and so this
So the termination
expires
is
to
2028.
September 30, 2028.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
We've got a little bit of time.
yeah, and, yeah, just talking with, Chief Larison,
Yeah.
it's arisen because of, like what you're saying, the insurance has just really skyrocketed and they're concerned, you know,
Yeah.
about some of the, you know,
Yeah.
some of the KDC is more community, center kind of stuff.
I
And-
understand
and-
the not branching out into,
Right, and
yeah.
their insurance does not cover any kind of use of the property as a community center. And so there was just, I would have been concerned if I
understand that.
was there.
I understand that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
When is their board meeting, next board meeting?
first
First Thursday.
Thursday
First Thursday?
is their business meeting.
This coming
Okay.
Thursday, yeah. This Thursday.
Can-
Yes, it will be.
Can we do
This
that?
coming Thursday, sure.
do that?
Yeah, yeah. To at least present.
Put them and make sure that that is the issue and this is hopefully.
So then we
This
should probably put it on the
satisfies them.
agenda,
Yeah,
because they have a pretty,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
otherwise it'll have to be in the
And you
announcement.
might mention to Bonnie at the same time that we will submit to you, or our insurance company will submit to you a certificate of insurance that shows that the city does have this
Yes,
insurance
okay.
required by this agreement. So we'll get you that certificate as soon as we ask for it from Chase.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So does that, would I make a possible quorum for the fire thing? Do I need to stream that live if everybody's there?
No.
I actually don't
No,
have
it's
time
their
to go this
business
week, because I'm
meeting,
gonna be
I
out of
guess.
town.
Oh, okay.
so.
yeah, it's their business meeting, so.
And I don't,
Okay.
are you?
Can you go, or
Only,
is somebody
only Shirley's gonna be
available to
there,
go?
so it's not a quorum.
I
So
could
that-
go if she wants company, I don't mind.
But then we have to
Okay,
film it.
Shirley's just gonna handle it though. Well, I mean, do you?
It's-
If 2 or 3 of us go, Jessica also go, is what she's asking.
Yeah, if there's
If
two
more
of
than
y'all-
one person
No,
goes, Jessica has to
we're
come and
not,
film
we're
it.
not, this is not a meeting, we're not discussing,
No,
I'm not gonna discuss. I'm there just to listen.
yeah.
And-
So I'll be at the auxiliary meeting anyway.
I don't know.
And
Well,
then their
you know what,
business
Sam? I don't
meeting is
care.
right after that,
Feel
so
free.
You just stay.
Yeah.
I'll just
Turn it
stay, and so it's no big deal.
We've always
Can you-
been
can-
cautious about complying with the
Yeah.
open records and the open meetings, which is if there is a possibility of a quorum occurring at any kind of event, even if it's
Fall
at a
harvest.
picnic over here somewhere, we usually post it. Or if we are going to go out and have a meeting at Dennis's house,
If we have,
we post it as a notice that that's a quorum, even if
We
we're
can-
just
we-
looking.
it's
and
no
we're
big
not
notice a
discussing.
possibility of a
Yeah,
quorum.
we can notice-
But it's a possibility, I may not show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice, what we.
There we go.
Yeah, we do that, we have done that many times.
Okay.
Post a notice of possible quorum.
Yeah.
And I can post that,
And I'll
no big deal.
possibly be
And
there.
it's
and
fine if I
possibly
don't plan on.
No. It's
Seems
just,
kind of like a weird thing to go there.
no.
Yeah.
No. This is just a
Yeah.
notice of possible quorum.
All right.
We don't,
And then I would just also just say, and I know you know this, but to reach out and get it on the agenda so they don't, so it's not in the announcements or it's in an official part of their business.
yeah,
Will you do that, Shirley?
yes.
Okay. I don't mind posting the quorum thing. It's really this thing that's a little more work.
Yeah.
Note
Yeah,
that she is pointing at the
there's no-
camera.
Yeah, more work.
It's, oh, I was looking at calendar, so it will be,
I'm gonna run back.
yeah, December 5th. So it needs to be posted by the 2nd for 72 hours. Okay. And, what was the other thing? So, notice of possible quorum, I'll need a certificate of insurance from Chase.
Oh, okay, first, okay, I'm
And-
sorry.
We're still in number one.
Oh, get this on, the okay, so,
Agenda.
Bonnie,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's,
have this on agenda. Okay,
Awesome.
okay.
I think that'll set their mind at ease as well, especially if it's presented in an official.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly
Discuss it.
very legitimate to bring this up and,
Yeah.
you know, especially with how their insurance rates have
Yeah.
skyrocketed, so.
$26,000 evidently.
20, I heard
ridiculous.
27, yeah. 20.
That's
So crazy.
ridiculous.
It's just like, why? I
Absurd.
mean,
And
How
they,
much was
and they
that?
make like 50,000 on the,
that's just nuts. I don't get that. I
On
feel
the
like that, I
barbecue
feel like
and
places
27.
like volunteer fire departments should have
Did they
forced
total it or
cheap
what?
insurance.
yeah, they
mean,
did,
Really?
yeah. It was when, it was being
Yeah.
taken to, and it
Uh-huh.
rolled over,
Uh-huh.
so yeah.
Really?
Well, they had
What
to,
was the loss?
they had
Little truck.
to, the insurance company
And
had
that's
to
like
pay
$100,000 truck.
the value of that destroyed
$100,000.
vehicle. It
not
was
to
totaled,
mention the
wasn't it?
medical
I
So
think
expenses.
so.
they
It was
want their
totaled,
payout
and
back in
so,
4 years.
I'm pretty sure they didn't get full value because
Yeah.
insurance
Maybe
only
so. Yeah,
pays.
you're right. Yeah.
Insurance pays the current value of the, what do they call it? when
Be
you,
allowed.
Not replacement, no.
It's not replacement,
Oh.
it's the actual current value.
Yeah.
Is ACV is what they pay, which is they go out and they look and say, a vehicle of that type, at that age, with, that is worth this
Right, the
much money,
kind of blue
and that's
book.
how much they had to
Right,
pay
yeah.
them. So it was probably $100,000.
Yeah, if
Paid
the
money.
driver had not been such a person of small stature,
Yeah.
they might have been,
Whoa. That-
it might have been a lot worse, like as worse as it gets, because of how the cab was crushed in.
Oh,
So,
yes.
The driver came out well, but still. with
Yeah,
medical
so
expenses.
it's,
Oh.
yeah, so it was definitely.
Yeah.
All right. We will move on, and Allison will be back in just a sec. Item number 2, discuss and consider real property.
Okay. We are going to, is our contract null and void now? The one we have?
It's not,
Or is it,
well, let me.
what's gonna
let me
happen with
see,
that
I
if we reach another negotiated
And
agreement?
let me kind of, I was explaining some of this to our city clerk. There apparently is one person in the county that does like plating review and answers like plating questions. She was,
In the county, you said?
yeah,
Yes,
one person. She
Again.
was on vacation.
but not. so.
When she got back, there was an accident. She's been in the hospital. So that's why, and everything is stacking up. There's no one doing these pre-development meetings. There's no one doing the plating reviews. It's there's only one person. Yeah, so there's a couple of people that can answer some questions. They're not, the experts. But yeah, I know from different, septic, permits being submitted, they're just stacking up until this person returns. And from what I understand, the hospitalization is over. She is returning on Monday. However, you know, there's,
She's gonna have a lot of stuff.
yeah, yeah. So that's the situation going on in the
Okay.
county right now, which has caused,
But then the
Oh,
other
that's-
thing is, so what we're wondering is, could there be an exception made, or what are we wondering?
We're wondering, we cannot put a septic unless, under 1 acre.
But
yeah.
there's a septic there, right? But
Right,
it doesn't
so
work,
everything
or-
that was platted before 1997, and it's a certain date in 1997, which downtown was platted out in 1875. So everything that's there is okay. By splitting the property,
Then you have
You
a,
have to replat.
then you have a
right,
problem.
and you can still keep it. However, if and when
Re-permit.
that septic ever fails, you will not be able to, that's where you need, I think, a half acre for a permit. But if there's the well on it, that's when you need an acre. If the well is to be ever used, you would need a full acre. So
To
that's,
have both.
yes, to have both. If it's just septic, it still would be, not permitted with the .43. I think if I got the information right, because we were talking about the well. So I didn't ask specifically about if we did not try and, yeah, yeah. How much we would need, but
I think we need, yeah.
I think that's
I don't
pretty much
wanna-
at least
I
half
feel
an
pretty
acre.
strongly about the water. The water's gonna be harder and
Yeah.
harder to
Not well.
get.
And it's not saying that,
And we're gonna have to do something with gray water,
right,
some kind of system.
And it's not-
still it's a distance to the well.
yeah. It's not saying that, you know, maybe the septic would last 50 years, who knows? But if and when it ever fails, we would not be able to
Put a new one in.
put a new one
But
in.
then again, we are talking composting
Yeah, we are.
toilets, and
So-
gray water can be used for everything else.
But it would have to be used, that would have to be,
It has to be,
I think that
that would
Certain-
be
You can
the
have-
only option
then you can
Yeah, I
have
know.
composting
for
toilet in the
us
county.
and whoever, you know,
you can't.
Yeah.
would,
The
for that
January
piece of
9th.
property, that would be their only
January
option
9th
going
effective
forward
date.
forever.
What year?
Yeah, forever.
Yeah, unless Texas changes
When I looked under
its
the
laws.
Yeah.
environmental
Which it
health
might actually, if
It
it's more
might.
populated.
department in
It
the
might,
county,
but
the last
that's
time
the
they
way it
had
stands
for
right now.
on-site sewage facilities was dated 2009. And all the regulations there and the list of approved composting toilets are there. I didn't see anything addressing
November, what did you say?
cisterns
Composting
or
toilets.
Are legal in this
basically
county.
outhouses.
January 9th, 2024. I do not know if it actually passed all the way through or not, but it came to an issue in this county that that date composting toilets would no longer be accepted.
Oh, no way.
I'm gonna look
That's where,
at,
I'm
okay,
sorry. I know an individual that had one, and he did get in just before that date.
That's
okay,
so
January,
interesting,
I'm
'cause I
looking,
thought
I'll
that
look,
was one of the cool
January
things, yeah.
2009, this year, January
Yeah, I
this
don't
year,
know.
they redid their subdivision rules. And I don't remember seeing anything about on-site septic except environmental health, but I'll look at that again. Environmental health still has posted the rules from 2009, which lists composting toilets.
And when she came in here, composting toilets
Yeah.
were legal. The only thing that was illegal was the black water from your kitchen sink, which if we don't put a kitchen in, or if we take the kitchen out,
Oh, I'm sorry, that black. water
Anyway.
kitchens-
it's weird, right? But you can have all kinds of other sinks, and they're all
Well,
fine.
But
It's just-
here's the thing, it's like,
Back
if
to the
we,
salmonella and
if we didn't divide the property, we wouldn't have to replat it, it's platted. We just
Right.
transfer the property now, but that's the entire property. And we can negotiate maybe a price for the entire property and see how that turns out. And that's
How
what,
much of this is in this discussion and how much is in the executive
I don't know what we
session
need the
discussion?
executive for,
Well,
for sure.
I,
Okay.
I think it's
My-
Dennis's,
my
Dennis
thinking-
should be the
My
one.
thinking on that, when I suggested that it be set up as a general, then to go to executive, reserve the right for executive
Okay.
only if we need it, and then go to a final general where we would then take action on
Okay.
whatever happens. And so I think that, and the reason we have executive sessions is not just to keep everybody in the dark and and hide it all from Dennis, but it is primarily designed in the law that way so that a city in negotiating a purchase of real property does not suffer a disadvantage or suffer under having to discuss it every detail out in open, which puts us at a disadvantage to other competitors, other bidders, other possible purchasers.
Right.
And so if we negotiate a deal that we think is a reasonable deal, and Dennis does, we want to have the right to discuss some of the terms in executive session that if they were known out there, then a competitor could step forward and immediately make him a better offer.
Right.
And I don't know that that's a particular problem, but that's the reason we do
Right.
things
Okay.
that way. And I think that, and my thinking when I suggested it was that, and again, not to hide it, but in the general session, this first general session, I think it's designed to negotiate and with Dennis, and that's why he's involved in it. And then if there are terms that come up or a possible scenario that Dennis suggests or insists on certain terms that are somewhat uncomfortable to us, we can then go into executive session to hash out what our response to Dennis would be. And if we come to a conclusion, we come back out in general session and continue to negotiate, knowing what the strength of our position is or whatever, and we come to a deal with him. And you asked the question, I think, earlier about whether this contract is now null and void or
Yeah.
terminated. Our addendum to that was signed says, in the event that the subdivision, and this is a subdivision by Dennis, in the event that the subdivision is less than the minimum subdivision prescribed by Guadalupe County, Texas, the parties agree to terminate this contract and attempt to negotiate a sale and subdivision that conforms to Guadalupe County regulations. And so that's what we're here for, is to decide first, are we going to terminate this? We have a right to terminate this agreement with Dennis right now because the county has, even though they're limping along with, don't have the full horses over there at the courthouse, but they have said there is a problem with your subdivision. And
So-
it does not conform to our regulations. So we are here, I think, to
Answer that first
terminate
question.
and then negotiate a new agreement with him.
Okay, that was my question. Do we terminate and then renegotiate a new agreement, or do we renegotiate and try to find a deal that will work for all involved and the county, and amend, whatever, correct that one, change it, or just, like I said, start over? Which way?
Well,
which way we
I
go?
think it's technically the answer is the first. It is, we terminate and then negotiate a new agreement. But even if we then negotiate a new agreement, it could say, our new agreement is an amendment to, and everything else
Okay.
that we had in that first agreement
makes that all
is
good.
still the case, is still good, but here's what the amendment is. And this is what we want to add an addendum or just change the
So
terms.
on the table, we want to cancel the contract we have.
Well, I'd just
And
like to
then
hear from
start a new-
Dennis, are you even open for new negotiation with this, for us trying to buy more land, or?
That was expressed prior to this, that
I figured.
at the original viewing of the house that was recorded, I believe you will find me saying yes.
How about we adjourn and move to executive and begin negotiations?
Well, I think that it might be appropriate to, once we go into executive session, we cannot negotiate with
Then
them.
how can we, then what's the point?
So we do it right
We
now.
don't know.
We negotiate with him right now in the general session.
Oh,
Well, if we negotiate in general, how does that protect us from competitive buyers knowing what our terms and conditions and everything are? It doesn't.
in other words, first thing.
It makes it-
Well,
Back to the first.
you do have the risk
Yeah.
of that, but that's offset by the fact that because of the nature of the objection by Guadalupe County, anyone else that's going to go purchase a part of or all of his lot is going to have the same problem to deal with. So in practicality, I was talking theory about why you do things this way, but in this practical effect of all of this is no one else is most likely going to be able to come in and before we conclude a negotiation and a possible new agreement, no
What
one
if
else
Elon Musk
is
wants to
going
come
to
buy
be
your
able to come
property?
in and beat us out of this deal.
Elon Musk has to get here before we close the meeting. We're gonna close this deal today, y'all. Come on.
All right, so I believe there was a proposal on the table for the 1.43 acres at Guadalupe County Appraisal District price,
That's the entire
or
piece,
appraisal.
the entire
not
property,
price, Appraisal,
the house, the septic,
yes,
the water meter, everything that's on there now,
right.
correct?
And I,
With,
That's part of your price.
correct.
Yes, with what?
Yes.
Because you want to remain in
Besides-
Kingsbury, I'm assuming, so,
With my rights to stay on the back.
for your lifetime.
And be responsible for the utilities that are already set up there, but not owning them. Because there's two sets of utilities,
right,
total sets of utilities, not just one of the three that we consider today. I don't know if we consider the four, but that's available as well, to my understanding, the internet service.
Would you be okay with if we purchase the entire property, giving you a lifetime lease or, so
To
we
my
can,
understanding, basically the way that works, yes. And it would be just rights to the back .43 or whatever, or quarter, half, whatever, just so that neither one of it get in trouble. That this is my line, I can't tell you what to do. And reciprocate.
we'll define boundaries.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If I might make a point, Dennis, that if I understand what you're talking about, is we buy one acre, you keep
No,
point
no,
four.
no.
We buy
Because
the whole
that puts you
thing.
in the
Oh, you're
same
still
boat
talking
you're
about a
already in.
lease. Okay.
And then we
That's
lease
still
the
putting you in the same
0.43.
boat,
Yes,
so
because that's what I
don't
was
want
going
you in
to
the
say.
same boat.
If you keep.
Wait a minute, I want to be in the
.44,
same boat, but not in the same
Then
boat.
he's in the boat we're in
And he
now.
has the same problem with
Yes.
septic that we do.
right.
Correct.
But if he
we
takes the
buy
.43 at the back, but we buy the whole thing, and he has a lifetime lease on the
three
.43
at the back.
at the
No.
back.
No, then
doesn't-
he still
we-
has
we
the same
take-
problem.
Yeah, he can't.
But it's a lease. If we're
Lease,
buying the
not-
whole property,
Like
and
I
then
said,
he has a lifetime
Yeah.
lease,
Basically a
It's the
renter.
ownership issue.
then the issue is gone, and then Dennis also has a place for his lifetime, that he is assured that he can be there with
And remember,
clearly
my
defined
age is not
boundaries.
forever. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're gonna live forever.
Seems like it.
You're gonna live forever.
All right.
Elon, you heard that.
Give it up, Elon. You're not getting our town. Get out.
And the current appraisal price for 1.43 is $135,791. So, that's the, if that's what you were suggesting, our proposing was for the appraisal.
That was one offer, yes.
Yes, okay.
You were making the other offer, open to that as well,
Okay.
because the income level and capital gains, and while I want to bail my country out of the debt they're in, I can't do it, but I don't want to support them continuing to put
Yeah.
my nieces
Could-
and nephews and other.
Could we pay out this lot to Mr. Kime on like a payment schedule to reduce his tax burden
Well, you
as
could,
opposed to a lump sum payment?
you could do it with a mortgage, I mean, a deed of trust and a promissory note, but I don't know whether that would be agreeable to him. I mean, it would give him the advantage of, the deed of trust is a Texas mortgage, and there's a promissory note that goes along with it, and he retains the deed of trust, which means he still, while that mortgage is in effect, he retains
Then I have to sign off on anything
some
that's
kind of
segregated.
theoretical title to it, only to secure payment of that mortgage. And so if you set it up that way, then he would have the power of, I mean, we would own title, real title, but there would be what they call beneficial title to the property would be retained by him in a deed of trust while we pay that promissory note out. And the benefit to him would be that he then only has income, a smaller income. He does not have that huge capital gains tax
Yeah.
on the
Texas-
whole.
As a municipality, we're not allowed to carry debt. So would that would not, would that be considered?
Yeah, that would be debt.
Oh,
My understanding is
But
that,
So then you can do it on, well, you could then do it on bonded indebtedness, but that's very complicated.
Yeah.
Any banker can set up a mortgage, but bonds have to be actually approved by the Attorney General's office. That's where we would have to,
yeah,
we would have to say, we're going to issue some bonds, and the credit of the city of Kingsbury will be good for those bonds, and the bond payer, then the bond companies, the underwriters out of New York, the investment bankers, would buy those bonds once they're approved by the Texas Attorney General. And it would cost us all a lot of money for all of the underwriting and the lawyers.
And I'm grateful for the money the city has already spent, by the way. The city has spent,
a little, yeah, for the planning,
Yeah,
for the.
would,
So that is,
well, I mean,
That is a
it-
problem.
I'm not
I-
interested in that.
yeah.
that statement, that a municipality is not allowed to hold debt is, I don't know exactly where, but on our budget, that's why we're not allowed, we have to have a balanced. It has to come down to zero,
Yes.
because we're not allowed to hold debt. So, I'm not sure what the
Definition of
details
holding a debt
are.
is-
Yeah, what the
I mean,
definitions
could-
and details are of that.
Under the way you're thinking, could we not take that $135,791 out of our account and put it into a
A holding-
separate-
yeah,
like
yeah.
a holding account,
No,
escrow
bond
account sort of,
yourself.
where
Yeah.
it's our money, but it's already transferred from our account to here, and it can only be used to
Kind of
make the
escrow
payout,
thing.
yeah,
Self-payment.
on,
Yeah, what
at
about
his
that?
request or on scheduled payment.
I don't
An
know if
escrow
the-
account, that's
I
what
don't
it's,
know if the,
escrow.
well,
I don't know if the IRS would consider that, if you actually got a fund sitting over here that Dennis draws down over 10 years or 15 years, the IRS might not consider that, they might consider that a cash payment. He got control of all of that money at one time. It's a question for his taxes. I don't know the answer to that. But
And also
the
the other side
IRS
of
might
that-
audit him and say, well, wait a minute, this isn't set up as a mortgage. And if it really was a mortgage, that means the money didn't become yours until the 10th year, each year as they accrue. Whereas your arrangement with the third party is you got the money and you're just parsing it out to yourself. And that may seem strange, but the IRS can be strange at times.
Has been in the past. Thank God they're changing, but again, a different issue.
Okay. So,
One thing we might do is consult with your city's co-counsel, Art Martinez de Vara, on that question, surely, of whether this can be done by bonds or certificate of obligation, or is this is it?
I mean, if we bought it outright,
Yeah.
there would be no,
no question.
but we're trying
So
to.
what is the tax burden for an outright purchase, and is there some way
Well,
we
he
can
came
make
in an
that?
income of
right?
$134,000 this year.
Say what?
That would
It
be
is-
part
he
of
would-
my income this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's already a 20,000 I took out of an IRA, and what Social Security is paying me for the year,
Yeah.
which is still taxable, which they're talking about eliminating, but they haven't done that.
So
And-
basically, he's gonna lose like 30% of it right off the bat.
Right.
Because of capital gains.
Yeah.
I thought that capital gains was about 25%.
All right.
But anyway, it's close
30.
enough.
And the
Yeah, it's a
capital
bunch
gains
of,
is not
it's a
on the-
large amount of money.
The capital gains is not on the $137,000.
It's on everything.
No, it's only on
What's left?
the difference between and the yearly depreciation or
Yeah.
whichever way you want to say it, of my original purchase 20 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's the money you get for
Well,
the
so maybe it's
capital
not as bad
gains.
as,
It
No,
may
we
not
see.
be as bad. Like I
Yeah,
said,
I'm not
it's
sure
a
what
money,
the-
it's a money issue that an accountant, not a lawyer, has to look at because, well,
Yeah.
then again, the law and the accountants together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your income, other income that you received this year would not be part of that
The capital gains, correct. So it's strictly the
It's only
purchase
the-
price, the
Yes.
amount of time have held it, and the increase in value since.
Is it capital gain? Capital gains depends on the length of, like he's saying, the length
Right.
of time it's held.
Yes.
Part of
it-
it, yes.
Is it,
So we
is
need
it,
to-
so is there capital gains if he's held the property for,
20 years.
yeah?
Yeah,
20
maybe
years?
not.
Is that capital gains?
And it's not like you're selling it for, and that's not market
Because
value.
I was
Under
thinking
market
it
value.
was something
It
like
is.
5 years and then it's,
You could mark down your cost of maintaining the
yeah, I'm not
property.
sure. I don't know
Yeah, you can-
the,
I don't know
laws
the exact
regarding-
amount either. I don't,
Because I don't do that, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
I just know that when all of a sudden you have this much money in your
Yeah.
account, IRS goes, huh? you
Oh,
did
yeah,
that?"
they do. Yeah. What happened? Give me some of that. I need some of
You
that
are a
money.
poor boy, what happened? You're rich. And
yeah.
We'll take some of that.
Yeah, there's short-term capital gains and long-term capital gains, and long-term capital gains are at 0, 15, or 20.
Oh.
Yeah, much lower percentage,
Right.
They give a percentage.
but still a chunk
I-
considering that I'm always,
I'm just-
I don't
I know.
That's
deal
just the-
in the
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
$1,000 increments or have
A
not,
little
even though I
overview.
have.
Yeah,
done
so
some
Maybe
it's
such.
correct.
25.
No, my
we've
life
got
has been,
capital gains.
Yeah.
if it was at 15%,
They
for
won't pay
instance,
any capital gains tax if total taxable income is 48,000 or less. The rate jumps to 15% on capital gains if their income is 48 to 533.
Okay,
So
so
it would be
15%.
15%.
About 15.
15 is
I mean,
less
is there
than
any-
ordinary tax rate.
Can we, I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
it's,
and it may fall out.
Because this is the
totally
long
beneath
term,
that.
we're looking
Yes.
at long-term capital
Yeah.
gains for 2025 tax year.
I think so.
so what is 15% of 135? I'm just wondering, is there some way we can,
15%,
No, I don't-
add it to
15%
the-
135.
but then you'd be getting more, so you'd have to pay more.
I'm not expecting you to take care of my problem there, but.
Yeah, but I mean, we're also
Issue, it's not a
benefiting
problem,
from
it's an
a,
issue.
We hopefully may have the same problem ourselves later on. You never know.
And something else that Shirley read in there,
it's 20,000.
was the $48,000
$48,000.
income, your capital gains on,
I mean-
only, my income should be under 48,000, so I wouldn't even qualify for the 15% capital gains.
That's-
Yeah, that's-
How do you say that?
I'd like to
Sorry.
make a proposal though, just if it is 20,368 for 15% and we added it to that amount, which is still far under the value of what it's worth, is that something that might be, because that's still under 500,000, so you wouldn't get a more,
I personally
Then
would
he-
like it to be a price that allows the city to hold on enough of their current
money,
monies
yeah.
to be able to move forward in the use of the property due
Yeah,
to
we
the
need to
fact
do a
that the
bunch of-
property is to somewhat, what do you call it?
And if you had.
I don't know what you call
Yeah,
it.
if you had the
understand?
20,000.
It's a private residence, it's okay. As a public, you have more.
Municipal,
Yeah,
yeah,
it needs
municipal
work.
building and all of that
That's
things that go
something
with
else.
it.
The environmental on-site sewage, I don't know about there's a difference between a residential and a commercial or institutional.
Yeah.
Commercial and institutional, they require, I think, double the space.
Your
for the
capacity.
For septic, for what?
Yes.
So you're talking septic?
Yeah. Now that's,
I'm sorry we're bringing up so
Maybe
many
not
issues because I would like to make it
Yeah,
simple.
I
but-
didn't.
No, it's, I mean,
did
it's not
mention
simple,
it.
it's
I
why
did,
we're having a
yeah.
meeting about it.
Yeah.
Kingsbury. But again, the person that knows the most about this is not.
yeah, but in their environmental health and safety, their regulations for on-site sewage facilities is, commercial and institutional are
I didn't
different
see
than residential.
Okay.
They lumped it together, commercial and institutional, and I'm assuming that the city's municipal building will be institutional. Anyway,
Now, okay,
slightly different,
yeah.
but I think still gonna end up.
Now, personally, I'm getting permitted for, much less than acre for
Mhm.
commercial because of the type of
Oh,
The type of
OSSF.
business? Is that
Oh,
what it-
because of the aerobic.
It's a road trip.
Yeah.
Hey, I know it's totally aside, but thank you for the large print on the front of the building. I've seen few, if any, in applying for license.
But I'm just-
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're-
I
we're
was
gonna
saying
get-
thank
we're
you.
gonna
I
get it
said,
done.
they do that specifically for me, so I can read it.
Whatever it's take, we're gonna get it done, it's gonna
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
just, but yeah,
And again, we're only talking about if and when.
yeah, well, it is,
so, I mean, because we have like 200,000 in our total account, right? So it's like, if we spend this much.
We have 230 something.
But
I mean, we don't want to.
130, well, let's say, we have, we'll
I mean,
have
we don't have
100,000 to play with.
conservative.
I mean, it
The
is
foundation
certainly-
roof would take a big
It's
chunk of
certainly a
that.
concern,
Yes.
and then there's all
Yes.
the ongoing,
Yeah,
there is the ongoing
yeah, the ongoing.
expenses
utilities
that
and
will start to,
Everything else.
that will
It's gonna
start
be
to
a
incur,
constant.
so.
It's not gonna be easy, but it's,
Reconstruction, yeah.
sometimes life isn't easy.
Well, I mean,
It's
there's water, electric.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to mention fencing.
Yeah.
We're not gonna put any livestock out there, I don't think we need that
You
fence.
do not want my security
Right now, we're at
system, and the only way I can control them is with fencing.
I mean, we
Talking about my dogs,
we can
okay?
afford it, but is it going to cramp us?
We'll leave the back door open for them, it's okay. So you opened a slightly lower price on
Yes.
that?
So, yeah, what are we thinking?
Well, as we got a framework for everything except that final price term, because if we have a framework that appears to be agreeable to Dennis, then maybe this is the time to go into executive session to
Agreed.
discuss our counter to him and what that price might be.
Okay.
And if we've covered everything, have we done away with the issue of, or set aside the issue of adding 20,000 to it because I don't think that's a
No.
good, add
That's not
20,000.
It's just
and
gonna
then
make the
you
price
still-
more
Yeah,
taxable, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's-
So otherwise.
If
Well, what is our-
anything like that's going to have to be done separately from just,
Yeah, so
I
what is the
guess.
solution to the tax thing? I mean, is there one?
I think you've already addressed that, and it's my personal problem, which I don't expect y'all to take at all.
okay, thank you,
That's,
but I wish we could.
Yeah.
I
Wish we
appreciate it.
could.
Does that
Like I say,
one,
I appreciate what you've already spent, even though for me to see the value in the inspections and the surveying, that, hey, all he did is verify what I already knew.
Yeah.
And he did verify it. They did verify the points.
but we didn't know that.
Oh, I could have showed you the stakes. I'm
We
sorry.
still wouldn't know.
But you couldn't eat them because they were steel.
There's still one thing that I'm not sure if we've really covered, and that is, you've talked about all of the utilities. Sewage of a septic is part of it.
Right.
You're not, even if you're leasing, no, what are we doing? We're buying the whole thing and you're gonna lease back.
We give
for the
him
term of
in
your life,
perpetuity.
0.43 acres. And if you do that, you can't go build a septic, you still probably can't build a
Well, I
septic.
couldn't build it because it wouldn't be
So-
my property. However, in the lease, I expect
If we own it.
or
we
I
could-
anticipate
we could-
that you would take over responsibility to make sure that can still use the property as a resident, the back,
Yeah.
not
Well,
to.
that's fine, but what I'm thinking is that you won't have septic back there unless we can get a permit to, that says
In other words, they're
the
gonna
city, the
condemn,
county
just
is gonna
because
go.
of the city purchasing it, they're gonna condemn both septic systems?
No,
Like I say, they're
do you
separate.
have one on the backside? of
Yes,
it?
sir.
You
Yes.
do have
Yes,
septic
sir.
on the
Like I
back?
say, there's,
The part
the
you're
three
leasing?
utilities are there, phone, electric, septic,
Oh, you
There's
do?
two
and
Okay.
internet.
Okay, well, then that's fine. I was trying to think of a way to come up with a design to be accepted by Guadalupe County to where we'd have a big enough tank to service both ours and his property.
Yeah, no,
during
he's
the
got
time.
it, there's
But
two
he's got
separate,
it.
there's two separate.
Yes, the house is
systems.
here.
Oh, that's
The
great.
back property has a 250
Okay.
gallon.
That's the only question.
Fantastic.
Well, no, it's not a question, it's just like,
Because
the
it
part
works.
he leases in perpetuity, if we put it where his septic is in his lease, it's gonna be just about half of that lot. Just about half of that lot,
Or a little bit more than that.
or a little bit more than that, it's close, pretty close.
Yeah.
Right. And you
So,
can see the market,
Yeah.
so we wouldn't,
just driving by.
Yeah,
you
so
can
what
see the
you're brought
markings
up-
of
about
Tires.
septic use, that's, but that's a non-issue.
Yeah, it's a non-issue as long as if we own 1.44 acres,
4-3.
or 1 point, well,
Got so
I thought that
confusing.
new survey said 1
4.4.
acre for him and 4.44 for us.
0.43.
Oh, it was,
They
okay.
stayed at the, they kept on going back 437 to be,
If
and that's why I
would,
rounded up.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
but if we have the whole 1.43,
It's all ours.
and
Yeah.
then we should be able to, unless the county development takes a view that, wait a minute, but you just leased out 0.43, or you leased out, if it's gonna have to come back halfway to our property, we might be leasing out
Well, this is
0.5.
only if.
But we
If-
still
Fine.
own it.
Yes.
We still own
This
it.
Yes,
is-
only
yeah.
if.
We
Yeah.
own it, but they might say, but you don't have actual right of possession of the entire thing, and that's still less than, what you
No.
have a right of possession to is less than 1 acre.
And
That's
if we
what
buy
that
it though, isn't it ours? And then
Yeah, it
we're,
is.
we're
When
able
you
to do
lease
it.
property out, you lose the right
We're
of
not gonna lease it
possession.
out, then we're gonna rent it to them on a monthly basis.
Whoa.
Yeah, whatever it
It's the
takes.
same.
Oh,
And,
An agreement.
Sorry, that was it.
Well, I mean, any lease, well, and so is a rental, if you just call it a
Lease and
rent
rental, same.
agreement, you are giving the tenant exclusive right of possession, which is one of the most important property rights held in Texas. It's a right of possession that the tenant gets.
what does possession involve?
Right to
Oh,
live
you know.
on it and fence it off and And then, so we can't come over there and use part of, I'm arguing from the
Yes, sir.
developers,
Yeah.
the county planners position, saying, you don't have a full acre that you're gonna be occupying. You are only occupying 1.2.
Okay, the
And
difference,
he has 0.5 acres or something.
the difference
and-
between renting out a room and renting out a house would
Yeah.
best explain what we're talking about
Yeah.
here, and I don't know the rules there, but what are the rules between renting out a room and renting out a house? And that's
Well,
why I have
he
not
said,
read
And again, I think that only comes up when we're talking a replacement to the septic.
Yeah.
For purchasing, the property, I mean, we could purchase the .43, but then
You would
If-
have
when we
the
need to
ability.
fix
it's
the septic, we wouldn't
only
be
if
able-
and when the septic fails that we would not be able to
Well,
do
when-
a replacement.
Our, because we're landlords, we would be responsible for
Right,
fixing the
but if we
septic.
had 1.43, even if we
Yeah,
were
it could be
renting
an
out
advantage here, I didn't know I
0.2,
got.
it's only, there's no stopper to that because we're only talking about if and when the
Yeah.
septic
Yeah.
fails, we need 1 acre.
Which the likelihood of the septic failing in the back part on an RV is
Or
pretty
the
low, in
front.
my opinion. I mean,
So-
you're not using a
Yeah,
ton of water.
They
You're
would
not,
say,
you're one person.
if and when, so it's 20 years down the road, the septic fails, they would say, oh, well, you need 1 acre
You bring up good points, sir.
to file a septic permit.
I agree with your perspective. I'm just concerned that I still worry about the county and their, their stringent.
Well, this, I guess, would be
Reason.
part of a pre-development meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's part of our contract too. If
Right.
it doesn't, if it's not acceptable,
Right.
it's not doable.
Is this, yeah, and we didn't have it inspected, septic
I know,
system. Is
yes,
it?
correct.
And I forget what you told us. Is it operating? You use it
Yes, sir.
and
Yes, sir.
it doesn't back up or?
It has not caused any issue to anybody in the vicinity.
Standing water anywhere near the
Okay.
septic tank?
No.
Okay.
To my knowledge, it has not
I didn't
caused
see any.
anybody, when I did have people staying in the house. People, you don't hear that water running in the toilet?
Deal land.
But
Yeah,
it
it will.
did cause an issue and you
Yeah.
can't stay here.
All right.
When I had renters
Yeah,
way
well, that'll
back
cause, it. Yeah.
with the mobile home back there and that was, and thank you county for pushing to get them out of there because there was other things going on.
Yeah.
So part of, like a pre-development meeting, again, the one person that has the pre-development meetings has been out, so there is quite the backlog, I've been told. And it's only on Wednesdays. But this seems to be questions for a pre-development meeting with the county.
Yeah, so that gives me concern about whether to close this deal
Yeah.
before you even have a pre-development meeting.
Yeah,
But,
Well, we're not-
we can go,
we're not-
but you have
we're
addressed the
eliminating the
question I
deal.
raised about.
but that's regarding
We're not
platting.
we're not
And we're not
developing.
talking about platting, really.
We're not developing. We're not purchasing
Well,
to
it-
divide and
No,
develop.
that's-
No, the
No,
pre-development
we're
is
changing-
if
we're
we were
changing the
dividing the
current
Yes,
property.
and we're not
To-
dividing.
And we're not dividing the
We're
property,
buying the
so
entire
maybe there
property.
is no,
It's a simple
that's true.
transaction.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're not dividing, so there
That's
is no
true.
pre-development.
That's
required.
true.
There's no,
Okay.
no septic
Yeah.
issue.
Good
Well,
point,
there's no
good
septic
point.
issues.
Yeah.
unless-
Well, you've addressed all of the questions that I had, so unless there's something else that you have, then I think it's time to go into executive
Dennis
session.
has something to
That's
say.
what I wanted to ask. Mayor,
Yes,
is it okay
yes,
if I
sir.
excuse myself and you all go into executive
Yes,
session?
thank you.
Certainly.
Are you
Thank
gonna leave the
Frank.
premises?
Thank you. I'm
Are you
sorry.
gonna leave the premises?
I have to leave the. I'm
No,
not
I mean,
leaving
the
parking
parking
lot.
Okay,
To
we're
my
gonna
knowledge, I will be outside.
recess and do this executive session. It's 1:11 and
Okay.
we'll see you after.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right.
But the pole is not moved.
No.
All right,
Oh,
we're
or is
live
this-
again.
No, it's
The
the
mobile
Okay.
home is long gone.
Okay,
At this
but-
point, we're at item number 5, we're reconvening our regular commission meeting.
Oh, I see, okay.
So, item 6,
You said septic tank.
discuss and consider real
there.
property.
Where do you plan?
So
on having
that's
a trailer or a house?
what we're doing now. Frank, you want to lay it out? Have you laid it out here?
We're
talking-
kinda-
Okay.
That's the,
You're talking
Now, what is
about
that
what
dotted line?
piece of it?
Septic tank and the drain line goes like this.
The drain
Septic
field?
tank, yeah, you can
Okay.
know where it is.
and where,
This is, okay, I found that this is the old survey when I
Mm-hmm.
purchased the place, and you notice the floor plan of the house is
Yeah.
what's here. It's not part of the survey.
Right.
It's a floor plan that I.
well, this is a scratch
Right.
thing right now.
So, right now, there's a travel trailer sitting right here, there's a shed sitting right here. And, it's sort of off a little bit, because septic tank sits just a little bit behind the pole. So, what you'll see out there right now is the neighbors have a wooden fence,
Mhm.
of hardwood to do theirs. If you go straight across from that, it includes a septic tank, it includes, there's a, hackberry,
Okay.
big hackberry
Okay.
tree right here. And it's just this side of the hackberry, if you do a parallel,
Mhm.
or not
But
parallel.
that looks like that
line
goes through
with
the,
fence. No, it's just below the septic tank. No, this is.
This
that
house
old
isn't there
concrete-
anymore.
This is, that mobile home
oh,
is not there.
oh, okay,
I
okay.
say, this old survey, that was.
But this shed is?
Bart. Bart was renting from.
Right,
the-
right, okay.
And Bart had to move out, well, because I had a mobile home and the house was not functional, didn't have any power in it. So I put power, I bought a second water,
Yeah.
right, so I say two totally separate utilities because I anticipated being a landlord, but that did not go well. I don't want to be a landlord, that is.
It is,
Scary.
it is a whole
It's a whole
set of
nother
problems.
issue.
You do have an RV back there, don't you?
Okay, so yes, the RV sits next to the blacktop, but it would
This
be,
is the black, okay.
yeah, what you see on this old survey is the
Asphalt
blacktop drive, asphalt and okay.
But the electric lines do right now, do they terminate at the?
Yes, it terminates at the corner of that mobile home.
Okay, no,
And-
at the, where the
Pole is.
current RV is now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, the RV is sitting right at that pole going east.
okay. All right.
So is it this side of the pole?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the asphalt doesn't actually, for some reason, this doesn't really line up where the pole is and where the asphalt is, where they terminate.
So you're actually,
In other words, it's the asphalt's a little bit further back, because if you draw the line, the asphalt, I say, what the neighbors fenced off in order to rent their property without liability, and yet they advertise it as, you're renting 1.4 acres. You don't have access to that. You don't have access to the cottage. All you have is the house, even though the rental company, oh yeah, you're renting
You're talking about the
1.4.
neighbor right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Or- yeah, but anyway, their fence line, if you
Mm-hmm.
look down it, and I don't know exactly what it is, but that's what they had, or that's what they chose to fence off for liability reasons. If you come straight across from it, it's the hackberry, it's the only, well, there's a few the other side of the asphalt, there's one the other side of the asphalt driveway. A big hackberry and a silver shed sitting right here that I put that shed in there right away before I owned the property, had permission to put it on the property because I had to get it off the property that my uncle sold. Why are you taking me back 20 years ago? Not quite,
No,
February.
okay.
that was still
21
just one
years
piece
ago.
of property though, right?
Yes, one
Okay.
piece of property.
So you're, so like maybe a fence dividing the two pieces, so from, well, south or west of the hackberry tree?
Yes.
Coming
Just
across,
west,
but
straight across.
keeping the pole and the septic tank inside the fence?
That is what.
And the
yes.
driveway itself inside the fence?
No. Okay, you go through that one.
But you
The
want
septic tank and the drive, all that would be,
all inside the fence?
right.
All right. How much
I-
of all of this do you want access to?
Well, I would be willing to take access down to,
You're fine.
That's off a little bit too, it seems like.
Well,
No, it's not. No,
We
it's
can do
not.
generalities, we'll go
No,
out there
it's
in
not.
real live person and
But the
and look at it.
asphalt, well, because the asphalt entry, because of the ditch that the county put in years ago, because of the drainage
Mm-hmm.
problem they created by paving the road and doing it on one side, not down the
The
middle.
other, yeah.
Oh.
The roads-
Okay, so it would be,
Okay.
you're,
I would be satisfied with that power pole. I would have to move the meter, I would have to get the meter on this power pole instead of this power pole. Oh, but then the septic is still over here, so
Yeah.
access to the septic. But if you want to just make it simple, just a straight across
Okay.
fence to include,
So the driveway's completely inside, the power pole and the septic completely inside.
right.
And on
yes.
this side, the pole is not necessarily?
There is a pole here that, in other words, when they initially put in the power, they had to have a pole because,
And would you would want your fence on that also,
okay,
or access, or whatever?
seeing the, I'm sorry, geometry escaped me.
Parallelogram,
Well,
rectangle?
It's not a rectangle, that's the point, it's not a
Well,
rectangle.
it's a-
So actually, I would be, it looks like I would be
It's a
asking
trapezoid.
if it, trapezoid.
There we go.
But the way that the current thing is set up, as far as where the septic tank and so on is located, it would mean that I wouldn't have access to half the property, but it wouldn't be down to a third, which I would be satisfied with if if those two utilities, the power and the septic, because water is in the corner. And why Crystal Clear insists that this is 7571 Kingsbury Road B, when the water comes in from Prairie Lee Road, and the telephone company and the electric company both have
Okay.
175 Prairie Lee Road.
The water
Not-
meters,
Just definition.
yeah.
No, it's crystal clear, it's crystal clear, don't even.
Well, they have the service address of the store at 501 Railway, which would be on the block down the street and on the railroad
I
tracks.
guess
So,
they are
and they
so-
won't change it. So, yeah, that's.
But the
And
that's
they
what
won't
do.
change it.
They won't
but the
change it.
meter's in the corner here.
Yes, sir.
roughly.
The
And with
meter's
the
in the
line,
corner.
you have a line that runs from the meter to where? To here? The line doesn't run anywhere? There is no line
There is no line.
from that meter? The meter didn't, no water flows through that meter?
Since there have not been renters there, no.
Well, how did they attach to it? Just directly to the meter?
Because back in the day, before I bought the property and Bart's trailer was there, the water all came from the 1 meter in front of the house. And it was legal, but then Crystal Clear changed in your legality of 1 house per, so no longer could you run off the front meter. And that's why they had the A and B initially, because even though there were only 1 building and 1 meter.
So there's a meter in the back. There is
Yes,
a meter.
ma'am.
Okay.
There's a physical meter there, but,
Yes, sir. And yes, I do run water through it occasionally, but for the most part, no.
okay.
Mobile homes hook up by
How
hose, or excuse
how
me,
is it built? How
travel
are these two
trailers.
built?
They're all billed to me.
One bill? Separate bill?
You have 2 pages. With Crystal Clear, you have 2 pages because it's 2 totally separate meters. But they
Okay.
still have the address, delivery point, wrong.
Okay.
So we'll have
That's
to
crystal
probably
clear.
go through
Yeah.
that.
So we need to put in,
Like
we basically need to put
clear.
a water line from that
Access
meter
to
to
your
where you're
meter.
gonna live.
As I was
Oh, you're
saying,
just using
travel
this one.
trailer, all you have to have is a hose.
Yeah, but you don't wanna run water.
Have cousins,
Yeah.
and
Oh, is
other
that the new
people
one?
that, yes,
You can
because,
buy a,
Would you
you can
have
buy
it-
the
would you
lead
have it-
free
Yes.
hoses, which
Can
is
you
what you
print
should be
that?
yes,
doing. The
Yeah.
filters.
interestingly enough, we aren't live where we are
I
live
might
for
print
live,
it off
maybe
of your
just to say
laptop
it.
back there,
Okay.
since this is.
No, oh yes, we are.
I'm
Okay,
aware Crystal Clear sent out notices
Does
in the mail. I did not get one, that their water, according to the person, because I didn't read the letter, that the water has lead in it.
Oh.
I did not get that notice. Well, I get all the phone calls when they're shutting down and
Yeah, they're saying that some, on the inside unit, the pipes that are, are not
where-
responsible for, that are inside the, between the meter and the
property
residence.
owners, yeah.
Yeah, that there are some that have lead pipes.
is that what?
And there's
I
supposed
didn't
to
get
be
to read the
a
letter
check
'cause I didn't
valve
get one
after
and I
the
didn't
meter.
go ask them
But
Yeah, but it's
Before-
all your
I
responsibility.
am a double
so
customer and
that's
got
what
no
they're
letter.
saying.
What's all?
Those that,
If, between the
Anyway.
meter and the house.
the
Well,
way that
yeah.
you send out those mailings, it's amazing.
So they're telling you
What
your
Crystal
pipes might be
Clear-
bad.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with
There
them.
was no lead in PVC, so I feel pretty good about
You
it.
have to, well, you only have to notice this percentage, or what? I don't know why.
I would know.
But there's supposed to be a check valve between
Because I pick up the
your
mail.
line and their meter, so you can't have any
Partially because I
backflow
pick
into
up the mail
the
at the
main
church
line.
as
That's
well
true.
as my
Yeah.
house. And 2 boxes at my house
Okay.
outside. I have 3 addresses.
Okay, so we're talking,
PO box.
I think we're
Talking about a
talking
third.
right here.
That is,
I didn't get,
well,
From fence,
roughly, yes, ma'am.
I mean, we could measure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, we can
see.
measure it
The
and,
government.
and put a stake and a
Sud.
measure it
And
right
fence
on.
going directly.
and when that water looks like suds and the
Right.
neighbors say,
On
there's
the other
soap in my
side,
water. No, it's oxygen.
It looks
They
like it's
started
where
a
the
new
pole is
process
there
where they
also. There's a
infuse
second
oxygen
pole right
rather
there.
than chlorine
Uh-huh.
because of the
He's
risk of
asking-
chlorine when they do a
Same
pipe.
kind of line across
You get this water that looks like,
at
It's
this
a cloud.
middle
Yeah.
pole.
It does.
Oh,
And
he
and
said
so,
he wants
but
to-
if the meter's back
It looks
here,
like soap.
that's what I
well, I
The
guess.
meter-
I
River
I mean,
and
if
moved
we-
in
if we
and
don't want
we
to
got
run
soapy
water
water
hose
over here. No, you don't.
to the meter,
I don't
then we just put in a
I'm
PVC
sorry.
line.
The-
Yeah.
And
I don't know what they
that's-
got.
That's
I
a
know that
couple
Crystal
hundred
Clear
dollars.
says it's not soap, but I'm
So,
not
so
sure.
we're talking like a strip then?
Yeah, just, pretty much,
Okay,
pretty much. Just go out there and look at it for sure, you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome in.
run the string across
That's
and
pretty
then
much
say this,
true.
everything you want is inside these 2
I
lines.
shouldn't announce it on
okay.
Better listen to that,
Okay,
see what they're doing.
all right.
They aren't doing anything to me yet. They,
So
you
we're
know,
looking
tell
at
us.
we're looking at our second price option. Okay, we're thinking, you're asking the price, and this is included in the deal, but not for free. Let's say you'd be paying rent if you lived anywhere, so we would basically say a monthly rental fee for 10 years, and if you live 20, well, then it's half price, because you've already paid the 10, and that's over. But we're looking at, say, assessing like a $300 a month rental, but we're gonna take that off of that first
You're going with-
purchase.
Well, you're not quite to
No.
market value, but you're almost in market value.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I cannot handle
Yes,
what we do for each other counts more than market value.
okay,
Market value, the price is right. Isn't that to show that, you know, hey, suggested retail?
yeah,
That you're making 5, 10, 20 times what you put into it,
right.
including all the employee wages and insurance and taxes. I need to quit on that, but I very much.
That's the
agree
other
in
thing too,
supporting
this
other
would be
people.
property tax free.
Yes, yes. But that, and I was so surprised when I got my tax statement. Hey, I've only got this year's tax statement, $1,000, under $1,000. Last year, I think it was 1,300. They lowered the tax rate, and because I'm locked in, that meant they lowered tax bill. And, yeah, that was nice.
That's good.
And I did, in a previous meeting, mention the fact that the property would be falling off the tax rolls, but at my rate, it doesn't make much difference.
Yeah,
At somebody else's rate, market value,
Yeah.
it would make a big difference. And I'm only backing up my market value argument that I do not go with market or suggested retail.
okay,
But-
then how about, will you go with this?
Listening?
The entire lot, $100,000, and you live on this area that you've chosen for your natural life.
Yes.
Lease terms, so,
Rent free.
well, that's, yeah, rent-free basically, that's what we did, $100,000.
Any maintenance necessary for me to maintain my position on that property, that would be willing to be discussed. I would like if the septic tank had to be, or if, what do you call
Kind
it?
of landlord responsibility.
Yeah, no, what the
Well, it's
city
your
owns,
responsibility, but what I am saying is, would be agreeable to, even as with a fence line fence, the two have to agree and split the cost. It doesn't have to be a 50-50, that can vary depending on what you're doing.
thank you.
And so at the time, not the if, or, I'm sorry, the term Shirley used, if only, or what she used earlier. Because, or not because, everything is based on today
Yeah.
and how things stand today. Things change constantly, so, but yes, agreeable to, especially with the rent-free thing, agreeable to any maintenances necessary to perform, to have me stay on the property during my lifetime.
I have no
You can do
problem
it through
with,
contribution.
I don't
We-
think I have any problem with
we,
that.
like I said, if it's the city's property, the city's responsible. And
Yeah, I mean, the
your-
city would
your-
own the property.
Your
Right.
occupancy there is based on the sale price,
Sorry.
essentially, so.
Individual.
If the septic system fails, the city should correct it. If the power pole breaks, the city should get
But
that,
that-
make
that's
that.
a-
I know,
That's the utilities.
but that's still
But they're
city,
arguing on that
yeah.
nowadays. It's
Uh,
like,
the
No,
water.
it's our responsibility to fix those
If
things.
there's
there's,
an
a- yeah,
issue-
if there's a leak this side of the meter, it's
Yeah,
our,
it's
it's our
ours.
responsibility,
Yeah.
yeah.
If your
I
house
guess I'm
burns down,
responsible for, well,
Yeah.
that goes back to the issues of the insurance thing. If I purposely, or even accidentally, but know about, run over the line and break it and there's a leak of it, why should the city pay for what I damaged?
they shouldn't.
And that's
Yeah.
why I'm saying
Oh, okay.
the other part about agreeable to maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
too.
can write that all in. I'm sure Sam knows how to do all that kind of stuff.
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
can. And do you, and on the rest of the terms of the lease, Frank, did you want me to run down some of the terms of the life lease back?
Yeah, we'll see how this
I mean,
goes.
or at least what we discussed or what I've mentioned is the price is no dollar. That's as Frank said. So it doesn't cost you anything for that ongoing lease. The term of the lease would be for the your natural life. It would be, we would reserve the right to terminate that lease if for such things as if you were to abandon the property and move away to Colorado and buy a ski lodge.
Hey.
And then if you,
A ski lodge, Dennis?
if you abandon
That's how rumors
the
begin.
property, that would be grounds to terminate the lease. We will provide to you in the lease of your property the right of quiet enjoyment, which is
Okay.
a standard term of a landlord gives you possession and use and quiet enjoyment. In turn, we want you to guarantee to us for the rest of the property that we're occupying the right of quiet enjoyment and let us conduct our business. And
Municipal property is not quiet, but okay.
it's, as quiet as we can make it.
Yeah.
And you would not be allowed to put up any signs or anything without our approval or such things on the property line of your lease, any signs about the city of Kingsbury.
Specific.
This is not personal, Dennis, and I
Right.
don't even expect that you ever would, but I would expect any lease to have this. No right to signs without our approval or harassment of city business going on and parking. And if you were to encroach on our property and to build something onto our property, that would be grounds to terminate the
Okay, when you
the
say
lease.
on your property,
On our side, or?
On our side.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
if you
you.
encroach
Because-
onto our side.
Right, right.
Portion, yeah.
And interference with our right of quiet enjoyment. If you take any steps like that, we would notify you that you're in violation of that lease provision, and it would be grounds to terminate that lease. So it is a serious undertaking, but we do mean to commit to a life tenant for you. Utilities, since we're going to own the property, we're going to own the rights of the meters and the contracting with Crystal Clear and all the rest of them. We own it, but those utilities are going to be separately metered
They
so
are,
that
yes.
you will pay your portion of the water and electricity and those utilities. The lease itself is not assignable. you cannot assign
Correct.
that lease over to
Correct,
let somebody else, your sister move in or something. And as far as any subletting, we would
That's
require
what I
that
was
if you're
hearing.
gonna sublet any portion of it, we have to have the right of approval. You can only sublet unless the commission wants to just deny you the right of sublet, but I think we can protect ourselves by just saying we have a right
Right,
to.
I think that's better,
to
to
approve.
just say,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we're not saying
Because you
you
don't know what
can't.
tomorrow's gonna be, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that covers the lease unless you have anything additional. Dennis?
I had mentioned, and I'm still, because I will have some money, contemplating placing a large dumpster for use by multiple people, basically city, for disposal of household waste. You know, the large dumpsters, you know, with collections.
Roll-off type
Yeah, collection station, more or less, for the city.
for the city.
I would anticipate that's not,
Open to the city, not for the
Yeah.
city.
I don't understand.
he wants to put a dumpster, he's gonna get a dumpster, but we can use it, the city can use it if they
In
need.
city resident,
City
No,
No, he's
we
residents.
talking about people.
Oh.
yes, we
No,
cannot do under the, or what had been taken away from us
By the
as
I see what you're
residents
saying.
of this county.
transfer station.
Yes. But it can be official as an individual, but I can do it as an individual, is my understanding.
How about, are you gonna have restaurant waste and, because we don't want any grackles and egrets and everything else coming over there
Huh.
and foul odors.
Like I said, again, because you would be the landlord. But that is one point, or one thing that I had mentioned in.
And who would be responsible for the costs of this and rolling it off and,
The roll-off, roll-on would be more than likely on a weekly basis, and I would be liable for that. No,
I
it's
mean, how big a
provided,
dumpster are we talking about?
what are they, the 30-foot? Like, okay, what they brought in here at the fire department for the barbecue, those are the
It
large
would,
ones.
it wouldn't be weekly, we couldn't fill that up in a week, well, I understand
Oh,
your
people would fill
generosity,
that up.
I understand your generosity, but That's like-
Prior times,
relieving people of the
Across the
responsibility of
street.
handling their own trash disposal.
I'm sorry. what-
I understand your generosity.
Okay, yes, okay, in past times, across the street from me, that gentleman went around and picked up, I do not intend to be the neighborhood trash hauler. But for those that can't, don't want to, whatever the case may be, and it would totally hinge on how much they did use, not abuse, the privilege of using that dumpster, whether the dumpster is, I'm sorry I changed terms, roll-off, would be present for use.
If you price it,
But I think,
okay.
I think what we contemplated is a lease back to you for residential purposes.
Correct.
You're basically, in effect, conducting a business. Now, if you do that, it seems to me.
No,
that
I'm
you
doing a
have-
501(c) without doing that because I personally have a problem with 501(c)s.
501.
Nonprofit, seriously, people, you're making a, shut up.
That's not, I'm not talking about 501(c)(3), I'm talking about a commercial business of
Not a
trash
business.
collection.
A privilege offered by one resident to other residents in the area. I'm sorry, wording makes a
Okay,
big difference.
so I
Yeah, he's
guess,
not charging.
would we be,
And
would we
that's
have a
not the
problem
issue
with a
to-
dumpster on that piece of property?
I mean, I'm wondering if,
A 30-foot dumpster
yeah.
with private access, well,
Yes.
or
Private access.
public access
Private but
to
public,
that,
yeah.
to that dumpster on that
driveway.
section.
Weekdays, yeah.
I mean, if everybody in town starts bringing their trash to this dumpster, I wonder how fast it is gonna fill.
I think it probably wouldn't be there very long. I think you're probably gonna,
Right, that's what, and.
I think you're
it's on the
probably gonna
contingency
not
that
realize that that's not,
The public,
that's not
they
a,
have respected other ones,
I
such
don't,
as one on Kingsbury Road. I don't know if anybody really dumped them, and that's a very small dumpster. The open bar, of course, they got cameras on it. How many people actually follow through on illegal use of dumpsters?
so again, we're talking about, do we
what's your
have,
point?
do we have an objection for
Thank you.
this piece of property if there is a 30-foot roll-off dumpster for public use on that piece of property?
Well, along the, at least is writing up the lease, and from a legal standpoint, my observation on that is that, as in my line of questioning, if it were to cause excess and odorous, whatever,
And also
odor,
growing
foul
items,
odors, and if we've
even
got
has some
flocks of
garbage trucks
egrets,
that don't pay
in
attention.
excuse me,
Yeah.
I pay him to,
flocks of
Brian, bring
egrets.
in flocks of eagles,
And-
yeah.
No, I meant egrets.
Yes,
And grackles, and the things that gather around Garcia's
I never
food.
knew there was a grackle
Yeah.
meter.
Garcia's over.
Feels like
in,
there's
Things you learn.
in answer to your question, I would personally have an objection to that, because I think it can be carried to an extreme, and it could then
well, I mean,
interfere.
I can't say if it will or will not be a problem.
Yeah.
So I think if
If it
we
becomes
say,
a problem,
if it
then we
becomes
have
a
the
problem,
right
And you
to
have the right,
say,
and you
to
have
say-
the right
problem.
under the conditions of the lease.
Yeah.
yeah,
Anything that infringes upon the city, not just the city's
and our
property.
yeah, our quiet enjoyment. I mean, if
Right.
it's
You
a,
already worded it, but now you're taking away from the
Yeah.
wording.
so I'm,
I feel confident that Sam will phrase it in a way that
Yeah.
protects
No,
the public interest and allows Dennis to fulfill his charitable interests. And I think it's a, I don't know, I personally
I
think
wish
it's
you
a
well
great
on
idea.
that. Yeah.
I think you're gonna have problems because they're gonna come out to dump it and they're gonna say, oh,
I'm
we're gonna
worried
dig all
about the
tires
people
out
and their
here 'cause
abuse
we're not
of this.
taking tires.
Yeah, I'm worried
so-
about the people of Kingsbury and their abuse of said dumpster.
Well-
But, yeah,
Is that
but it could be amazing. It could be
But
amazing.
I would be a regular customer putting cardboard in there if that was
And
the
I was
case.
gonna ask, why did you, I didn't quite understand why you made the comment that, you're gonna probably find that it won't last very long.
Because I think the
the
cost,
abuse and the
The abuse.
cost,
I think the cost is going to be,
because it's constantly rising. Right now, they're in a market of, man, you can get it cheap. Tomorrow,
yeah. I
the
think,
competition right now is.
I think
Were you
Dennis
taking council garden?
may
Or just
decide at one
cardboard,
point
or-
that the cost is more than what he anticipated.
Tyler has
Yes.
commented that's gonna be
Yeah.
expensive, ...
Yeah,
House
so
garden.
it may or may not have a long-term
Okay.
That'd be good.
activity
I wish
there
you luck.
for that.
It'd be nice if it worked.
Yes,
Uh,
even it would have been nice if the project Udo worked so hard on.
I know, God,
Yeah.
that would have been nice.
But
I'm
I'm sorry,
okay
it's just
with it.
speculations.
No,
that
it's a
go
good
on.
idea if it,
Right.
And
Okay,
because I
so-
personally need to
yes.
clean up right now, I gotta get it, but I don't got the money to get it, and if I can continue doing it, I would love it.
Yeah.
Yes, so I
would
think
be
that,
very
that could
pleased.
be
Discussions
in
and-
that, in those terms of,
The-
you know, potential, termination of the
of the
lease
Thank you, you got the
based
words right.
upon, you know,
I agree with that.
Interference with quiet enjoyment.
yeah. I don't have a problem with dumpster with public access there. If there's not, if it doesn't cause, you know, basically a public
Health and
nuisance.
safety, yeah.
I'm
I
between,
just bring
I
up
will
the
be
issue, but
between.
it's up to the three of you.
Right.
I would be,
I'm
I
okay
mean,
with
I can see it, I can see potential problems arising with it, but I
Sure,
can also see
sure.
it being cool, you know, you
Sure.
never know. So, yeah, as long as we
Absolutely.
can all negotiate it.
Yeah,
Aluminum
As it-
cans are separate because they're still recyclable,
Yes.
and
And metal.
There are
The only
different
thing you
things
can
in the
recycle
store.
in this area.
People, don't you realize what you're throwing away?
Yeah, so we,
I
so
don't
I
want
think
your-
we're good with
I'll write
that.
it up that way.
Okay, good. Anything else on,
I don't think so. I haven't thought about it. I'm covering everything that I've already said
Okay.
publicly to the
And so
city, and I
the,
want to do those things.
the 100,000 that you.
100,000 and lifetime lease and
Lease conditions.
the lease conditions and
Mm-hmm. Was
those can still be worked out. We're not,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
You think that's fair?
Oh, could we do this contract, I don't know, as the lease conditions, as part of the contract, but can we leave that? I guess we can't leave it to the very end, or we could leave it to the end, but it doesn't have to be final, finished, black and white before we actually.
It doesn't from our
From my
standpoint,
benefit,
Frank.
it would be wise
From
to-
the city's point of view, we can do that lease back later.
We can
if we want
backdate
to.
it, like we did
But
this one,
if-
actually.
I mean, and
Evidently,
I'm
we've
not
signed the
representing
lease
Dennis in this
on this date, and it
transaction,
was
but if I
backdated.
was in Dennis's position,
Oh, and
I
never noticed
and I was
that.
selling property to us for a lease back, I would want that lease in writing
Oh.
and signed
Okay.
at the
That's
time
why-
of closing.
Yeah.
In fact, I did that when I bought my
Yep.
home. I bought it from Mrs. Duncan, and
Mort Lincoln.
I bought it and closed on March 31st, but at her request, we did a lease back for 90 days, and so she moved out in June 1 or something like that.
Yeah,
And-
that's
and
pretty
it was in,
common,
and
yeah.
we signed that lease the day we closed on the property.
common,
Because-
quite common.
And so to protect him, I think that lease should be in writing.
And ready-
and
ready to
executed
go.
at
Very
the same
Ready to go.
time.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
It's
right.
fair.
Yeah.
I'm fine. We're good. I'm good.
Amazing. This is exciting.
We're almost done, except for everybody going yes at the same time.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Don't be sorry, say it.
hear a motion. Except y'all had,
We haven't done it.
Well,
Do we need a motion?
Do we need to do
yeah,
something else?
I think you, we're amending substantially the agreement that
Okay.
you resolved to authorize the mayor to do earlier, and I think it takes a requirement, it should be in the form of a motion to resolve, and the city commission resolves to purchase the property from Dennis Kahn on the terms of $100,000 with a life leaseback of a portion of the property to be delineated as per the discussions here today, and with the lease terms being what we just dictated and agreed to. So if you want to, you can move to pass a resolution to that effect, and the mayor is authorized to sign a contract, an amended contract with Dennis Kime to purchase the property as you have just discussed
All right.
and agreed.
Do you want me to make the move?
may I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Heaven help Jessica that she can write all this down.
Videotaping.
Because we have it verbatim on audio of this recording.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I hope it's there,
Yeah.
that we move that.
Okay. Yeah,
you
why don't you
move.
make the movement?
I move that we do this transaction the way it's been delineated on video. Sam's words, I agree with him.
All right, I second that movement.
Yeah, we made the motion.
The number
It's
two.
been- It's been seconded. Any further discussion on this motion?
Because you're the negotiator. I
Right,
mean, you're the signer.
right.
You got that, okay?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, yay!
Warm and fuzzy.
All good.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. All right, that motion will carry.
Yay, we did it!
Or whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what, thank you for being willing to renegotiate this whole thing, given the
Girl,
The
do you know, I'm
intricacies.
giving up my Thanksgiving Saturday for this.
I know.
Are you giving thanks?